Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to talk about Josh Duggar. Now, if you don't know, the Duggar family clan, I don't know what to refer to them as, are a family that had a show called 17 and Counting. It was a show pretty much documenting their lives that were very religious and family value centric. And as the name implies, there were a lot of them because there were a lot of children and then subsequently a lot of grandchildren. In fact, I have difficulty understanding who's who a lot of the time. I'll put a little kind of family tree here just so you understand exactly the length that we're talking about. This show and this family were kind of like the Kardashians, where you constantly hear the name, but you don't have any inclination to really watch it. I'm speaking on my own behalf. I never watched the Duggar family. I just don't really relate to anything they post. So there's that. But I feel like the name is prevalent enough that even I, as a person who did not watch them, was not interested in that type of content, still was aware somehow of what was going on in their lives, kind of like with the Kardashians, that whether or not you want to follow them, you're kind of going to be forced to, because at some point someone on your timeline or someone in your life is going to share something and you'll end up knowing more than you originally wanted to. So basically what has occurred is that there are allegations that Josh Duggar had child pornography on his computer. Now, the reason I want to talk about this is because this story starts in 2002 and now more is being aired out, but I want to start from the beginning to where we got to now, because I think it makes more sense to see that progression as opposed to going backwards in time. In 2015, In Touch magazine published a 2006 police report that claimed that Duggar sexually molested 5 girls as far back as 2002. The incidents were not reported to the police until 2006, and authorities could not pursue charges because of the statute of limitations that had passed. In 2002, Duggar would have been 14. The article in 2015 was pretty explosive, and it caused a lot of ramifications in his life and also the life of his family. So he actually posted a statement responding. 12 years ago, as a young teenager, I acted inexcusably, for which I am extremely sorry and deeply regret. I hurt others, including my family and close friends. I confess this to my parents, who took several steps to help me address the situation. Now, the steps he took to address the situation, apparently he was sent to a camp where they did like manual labor. I'm assuming it's kind of like the camps that exist for like troubled teens that force them to kind of just work and only have the essentials they need in life, as opposed to any other kind of want or need or luxury, such as, you know, a phone, TV, blah, blah. And in fact, because of that article that came out in 2015, like I said, that was explosive, TLC ended up canceling the family's reality TV show. TLC, the company, said, over the past few weeks, TLC has consulted regularly with leading victims' rights and advocacy organizations in the US, including Rain and Darkness to Light, to discuss how to use this moment to address the issue and make a positive impact. Unfortunately, child sexual abuse is not an isolated issue. It affects many children and families around the world. Hold on to the child sexual abuse part of this. Now, I kind of wanted to go see what exactly had occurred in that instance in 2002, like what the molesting really was referring to, because it was very vague, and the current article that's discussing what's happening currently didn't go into it. So from another article I found, in March 2002, the 33-page police report reveals that Jim Bob Duggar tells police, that's Josh's father, tells police his son admits he fondled the breasts and genitals of several victims while they were sleeping in the family's home, and that similar incidents happened 4 to 5 times. Then on June 3rd, 2015, the mother and father appear on television, and the bomb that is dropped is that they acknowledge that 4 of the victims were their daughters, aka Josh Duggar's sisters, were part of the victims. But then it kind of got fucked up as well, because the parents, the Duggars, believe the bigger story is how Josh's police records were released under a Freedom of Information Act, and they threatened to sue, protect juvenile records, because mistakes juveniles make when they're young should be sealed, Jim Bob says. That part made me pause, because as much as young people should have their privacy, I don't really think it extends to if you are molesting or sexually abusing people, especially since if you're doing that at that young of an age, it might set up a very dangerous precedent if it's not taken care of. And even then, there's still so much debate on how much you can not cure, but I guess reform people who have that type of inclination of taking advantage of people in a certain type of way. So the sole fact that they were trying to twist the story instead of focusing on the victims, some of which were their daughters, instead of focusing on what could be done to help them, the focus was kind of put on, oh, well, this information shouldn't have been out there regardless. And that's not the center issue. And I don't think it should be treated as the center issue. And to move it towards that, if I had been one of the daughters that had endured such experiences, I would be disgusted, because it's like they're prioritizing the son's reputation over what happened to them. So then it came out that Josh Duggar allegedly had an account on Ashley Madison, which is a website where people basically sign up in order to have discreet affairs where people are either taken, married, or whatever. And that is by no means the worst thing that has occurred here, but regardless, that happened. And he actually released a statement about that as well, saying, "I've been the biggest hypocrite ever. While espousing faith and family values, I've secretly over the last several years been viewing pornography on the internet, and this became a secret addiction, and I became very unfaithful to my wife." And then apparently he changed the statement saying, "I've been the biggest hypocrite ever while espousing family values. I've been unfaithful to my wife," which I just think is a more reductive way to kind of hide the details of maybe that he shouldn't have put out before, or maybe that he didn't want people to know about before. So the trajectory here is already grim, because we have 2002, he has already molested a number of people, including his own sisters. Then we have going on these weird affair websites. And then we get to the point now. And the reason why I wanted to put it in this order is because it feels like, I don't want to say a downward spiral, because I think it began in a very dark place and then it continued in a place of disrespect to the marriage, which like I said, you guys know I don't support cheating in the least, but where we're about to go is the bottom of the pit, which is, according to court documents, in May 2019, Duggar allegedly used the internet to download child pornography, some of which depicts the sexual abuse of children under the age of 12. He's charged with receiving and possessing child pornography. He faces up to 20 years in prison and fines up to $250,000 on each count if convicted. This is where my discomfort really peaks, is that let's remember this guy was on a reality TV show that was known for essentially being a massive family with a lot of children. We already know that he molested, or in some ways took advantage of, 4 sisters. Now, if we remember the family tree here, what conclusion are we supposed to come to? Like, a guy who has child pornography on his computer, a guy who molested people when he was younger already, who was around a lot of young children, that to me is extremely alarming. Now, so obviously being on the outside, I don't know exactly what happened, but I think we can all share very intense discomfort at the idea that this guy was around children, especially since he had pornography of children under 12. And aside from that, we also have to remember that, like I said, when his parents went on TV to discuss the allegations, they pretty much tried to twist the conversation into a thing of, oh, how could his record be released when he's a juvenile and juvenile records should be protected? Where, again, like I said, the priority is on his reputation as opposed to what the victims went through, namely his sisters. So I also wonder how much the parents have a role in kind of defending this behavior or enabling it or just turning a blind eye to it. It's allegedly. It's just very uncomfortable to think about what is being allowed simply because of, I don't know if it's favoritism, I don't know if it's denial, I don't know what it is, but it is really alarming. And at the same time, it's also a shame that the allegations from 2002 were past the statute of limitations, because had there been consequences, I'm not saying nothing would have happened in terms of, like, you know, criminals will be criminals, predators will be predators, but I wonder what could have been avoided if there actually had been some kind of bigger repercussion with Josh Duggar. Anyway, all I have to say is that family always kind of made me uncomfortable. I don't know if it's because I think I low-key knew about Josh Duggar allegations. Like, I'd never looked into it, but I'm pretty sure I saw it like on magazines or something like that. But there's something there that is very eerie and uncomfortable, and now that I know this, I kind of feel like there's maybe more that is even potentially worse. I hope not. So this news came out on May 1st, and this was actually just days after his wife, Anna Duggar, had announced that they were expecting their 7th child, which I think makes it even more sad. More sad and also more concerning in terms of what their own children may have endured, considering Josh had been molesting his sister, so I don't know if that extends to his own children. That's why all of this is so alarming, and I'm glad that he's been in some ways caught. God knows. We don't know if he's been caught for everything he's done, but hopefully they're looking into him to see what else he's possibly guilty of, which is both scary but, you know, necessary. Anyways, guys, you can let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and let's get right into the fan art.